Hi guys, you're welcome back to this YouTube channel. Today we're learning how to make a DIY handkerchief dress with 3 yards of fabric, and trust me, it's very beginner friendly. So let's get started. As usual, I like to work with pattern paper so that my illustration can be very clear instead of directly on the fabric. And I'm working with a very big pattern today, so I joined papers with masking tape, and I'm labeling my shoulder line already. Okay, and this is my hip line. So on the average, shoulder to the hip line for most people is 24 inches. So I've marked 24 inches already. Next, I'm going to mark 46 inches. That is the length of the dress I'm working with. You can decide to make yours shorter or longer. It actually depends on what you want. Okay, so that's that. Now on the shoulder line, I'm going to mark half of my across back measurement, which is 7. Then from that point, I'm going to mark the length of my sleeve, which is a short sleeve, or let me say elbow length. And I use 12 inches. From my shoulder to my elbow length is 12 inches. Okay. Now on the hip line, okay, I'm gonna mark a point now below the hip line. Now this point is the point. If you look at the dress very well, you see that the triangle started from a particular point. Okay, so I want to mark a point after the hip line. That is where the side seam is going to terminate, and that's where the triangle is going to start from. So I'm doing 32 or 33 inches. Okay, so it actually depends on you. You can actually bring it down, but the lower you bring it, the triangle is not going to be very visible or pronounced. So I'm just doing 32 or 33 inches. Okay, and I'll measure that point from my hip to that point, and then I want to just mark the same point on the center front here so that I can have a straight horizontal line. Okay, so it's still the same thing on both sides. Okay, so this new line now is going to be like the termination point for the side seam. Okay, now I'll measure what I have here from the center front. That is my across back plus sleeve length. That's 19. Okay, I'm going to mark the same thing on this line, not on the hip line. I hope we are not confused. So I'll just mark that. Okay, so I'll join shoulder to this point on a straight line. So I have like a rectangle sort of. Then I'm sorry, my table is quite a little bit small, so you might not see the pattern, at a glance, like at full length, what I mean. So okay, so this is my highest point, like I said. Okay, from my hip depth 24 up to this point, this is about 46 thereabout. Okay, so I'll just connect here now. So it's gonna give me that triangle, the triangle look, at the center front. So I'm connecting. Please always work with rulers and curved rulers. Don't use your hand, please. Okay, so I'll just cut off the excess. Let us have a good view of the pattern. So let me just do that. Okay, so I've already cut it out, so I think we have a better view now. Okay, you can see the elongated part. Now let's work on the neckline. So on the average, an average person uses 3 inches for neck width and neck depth. But for me, I don't like my neckline to be too choked, so I prefer to do 3.5 at least. So I'm just doing 3.5 inch for my neck depth. You could increase yours, just get the technique. For the neck width, I'll be doing 3 inches. It's an asymmetric dress, but I don't want my skin to be too revealing. Okay, So this is my neck. Then for the shoulder slant, because it's quite the length of the sleeve is a bit long, I'm doing 1.5 inch. So I'll just connect that point to where the neck terminates. Normal shoulder slant is 1 inch, but I just did 1.5 inch. So this is my shoulder slant. I hope we are getting the tutorial. Okay, so I'll just get my French curve and my tracing wheel. So this is my tracing wheel. I want to trace out the neckline and the shoulder slant. So let me use my French curve to create the neckline first, like so. Please always use your curves and rulers. Do not use your hand, please. Now I'm going to trace out the neckline and the shoulder slant so that I can reflect on the other side. Then I'll use my marker to trace out. Okay, so I have traced out the neckline and the shoulder slant. You can see that that's the function of your tracing wheel for transferring markings. So I want to cut out the shoulder slant. I'm not tampering with the neckline yet because the neckline is not symmetrical. So I'll just leave it for now. Okay. So I'm going to open up the pattern, and mind you, we're using the same pattern for front and back, so it makes things very easy. Okay, so we need to mark our cross back measurement. It's very, very important from the center front. So my cross back is 14. Half of that to give me 7. So this is 7. Okay, so from center front to each of the points on left and right side, it's 7 inches. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Good. At this point, you need to just follow me, very gently so I can get my point. So now I want to create the asymmetric neckline, okay? So now we're going to create 3 points. I'm trying to be very slow at this point so that we don't get confused. Okay, so this is my across back measurement, the point here. Okay, that I marked the 7-inch points. So I'm going to come down from that point. As usual, if you're drafting an off-shoulder body, you come down by at least 4. So I'm doing 3 inches. Okay, but I think I might want to reduce this because I don't want my skin to reveal too much. So I'll just do 2. But 3 is fine, actually. It depends on you. I want to just do 2. I don't want to reveal too much. You can do as much as 4. So I'll be connecting point 1, point 2, and point 3. Then link it into the the shoulder like that. So point 1 is the neckline tip here, and then here, and then just slide it into that part. So I'll be using one of my curved rulers. You see why I always say you should use rulers or curved rulers. Don't use your hand. So I'll just link this together like so with my curved ruler. Oh, I didn't place the ruler well. I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, so I just link this together like that, and then this, make sure it goes beyond that the shoulder marking because it's an off shoulder. So this is about 1.5 inch away from the shoulder. Okay, so I'll just smoothing here up, and we're cutting the whole of this part out. So this side has shoulder, and this is the off shoulder part, this other side here. Okay, so if I want us to be very off, you can still go beyond. It depends. Now I'll open up the pattern. I've already cut out the neckline like so. So this is the off shoulder part, like I said. Now if you're the type that likes maxi wears, you can leave the pattern like this, okay? But we can still reduce the fullness on this dress. You can still reduce the fullness. So what we'll do is on the how do I put it now? The line after the hip line, this line, I hope you remember. What you do there now is you're going to mark 1/4 of your hip. Then you also need to add maybe probably 1 or 2 inches, or let's say 1 inch allowance, because it's not a pencil dress, okay? But at the same time, it shouldn't be tight or too loose. So I'll just add like 1/2 or 1 inch to 1/4 of my hip circumference, okay? Then I'm going to link this back to the shoulder line. So like I said, If you're someone that likes maxi, very free dresses, you can leave the pattern the way it is like this without altering it. So now that I've linked it to that line beyond after the hip line, okay? So from this point now, from my new point now, I'm going to link this back to the edge of the triangle, or the apex rather. This way, I've been able to successfully reduce the fullness, okay? Like I said, this part is optional. So I'll just trim off the excess. Now, after trimming off the excess, you will notice from the picture that one of the sleeves is longer than the other one, okay? That means one side is short sleeve, the other one is long sleeve. So we have to extend the sleeve of the off shoulder. So how do we do that? You're going to have to join another pattern paper with masking tape to the side, to this other side here. So I'll do that with masking tape. So now that I've joined it with masking tape, make sure you demarcate where the joining is with your marker or pencil, like I have done here, okay? So next, from the shoulder slants, I am going to mark at least 10 or 11 inches so that you have some degree of freedom, on the armhole. So don't forget the across back measurements point here. From that point, I'm going to mark the length of my sleeve. So for the long sleeve, I'm doing 19 inches. I'm sorry, the camera is not capturing that part, but I'm going to shift the pattern for us to see it. I'll shift it for us to see it. So I'll just mark about 10 or 11 inches, Just make sure it's more than your armhole circumference. Okay, that's half of it. So you see now you link it like this and have a curve. So it's either you link it like this. This is still another variation, okay? Or you mark the same 11 inches I marked here. You also mark it at the other end. Then don't worry, I will shift the pattern forward a bit later. I'm sorry, it's not capturing it well. I didn't know until I finished shooting the video, but we'll still get it. We'll still get it. The sleeve is going to be like a dolman sleeve or a boo-boo. Okay, so I'm going to shift the pattern now. Okay, yeah. So it's either you do this first one that I did here, okay, or the second one I'm about to show us now. Okay, so now let me move the pattern. Okay, so we get the gist. Okay, so let me fold the pattern paper like so. So the same thing, I came down like this, okay, and then I now made a slight curve. You understand? So it's the same thing, just come down by either 10 or 11 and make a curve like that. Or you do the first one, but I'm going with the second one. So I'll just trim off the excess that I do not need again. Now this is okay, so now I am going to deconstruct this pattern into 3 pieces. You could actually do it into 4 pieces if you want to. Okay, so this is the other sleeve here, the longer one. Now I'm going to divide my pattern into 3. Let me get my ruler to do that. So you could actually come up with any design. It could be curved, it could be slanted, it could be straight, anyhow. So with my ruler now, I'm going to divide this pattern into 3. And it doesn't have to be 3 equal parts. Just be very creative about it. So that's the first part, and this is the second part. You can see that the lower part is wider than the upper part. So just be creative about it. Now I'm going to divide this now with my scissors, and already we're going to be cutting two of this each. Two of each of this pattern, because it's going to serve as both the front and back, and I'll show us now on the fabric. Yeah, so here I use 4 different colors of fabric. This is green, this is nude, red, red and yellow. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and join each of the pieces together, 3 in front, 3 at the back. So here, I've joined them. So this is going to be the front. I have yellow, red, and green. And then for the back, I have nude, red, and green. So you can use more than 4 colors if you want to. Now I'm going to go ahead to use bias tape to turn the neckline. I'm going to join the shoulder together 1/2 inch. Then the sleeve opening, I'm going to turn it with bias 2. Okay guys, so this is very simple. I've turned the neckline with my bias tape. The sleeve opening on this side here, the long sleeve, I've turned the bias tape 2 round. Okay, and I've joined the shoulder here, same thing on this other side. And then for the shoulder sleeve on this side here, okay, I also turn with my bias tape. Make sure you turn up to, you know, the 10-inch mark. That's 20 round. Okay, now for the lower part of the dress, okay, you know that second line we drew after the hip line where I said the hemline is going to terminate. So from that point, from that line, you're going to use bias tape to turn the edge of each of the dress. That's the angled parts, if I'm making sense. Okay, after you've done that, then you go ahead to sew the side seam 1 inch and stop exactly on that point where the bias is, or where I said the hemline will stop. Okay, same thing here, 1 inch and stop right here. Okay, so let me just do that. Now this is the final outcome of the dress. You can see that it's so lovely. And then we're also going to be attaching, like, should I call it a belt? No, it's not a belt, rope to tie the side with the long sleeve. So I'll just explain how I did that. Now from this edge down to the length of the sleeve, you find the midpoint. Okay, this is the rope. Okay, we're going to attach it to both sides. Now from that midpoint, you come down by like 6 inches on this side. You attach the rope, okay, from here down here. Then from the other side, you also go back by 6 inches, and then you just tie. You can see that I've not yet stitched my own down, you know, but this is how it's going to look like. It's so super easy. The most taxing part of this tutorial is the drafting. The sewing part is super easy. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Kindly subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and leave your comments. Thank you for watching. Bye.